Welcome to Amazon Answers. And all right, you guys know I had to do this. Yes, thank you, Latvian Dragon. Bees, my God. Yes, we are discussing the utter travesty that is Amazon's attack. Now, let me tell you all a little story. So one day, hey, what's up, NJ? I was in a comic book store, and I was just picking through Wonder Woman trades. This is about a couple of years ago, and I just saw this. I was like, oh, this looks interesting. The Amazons are attacking DC. This actually looks kind of cool. I pick it up, flip through it, and read it as soon as I get home, and I go, what the hell is this? And that's the thing. When it comes to, yes, exactly, Cameron. When it comes to Amazon's attack, here's the thing about this story. It makes zero sense, because here's the thing. And here's the effect that this series has had on DC in general. Whenever people talk about Wonder Woman needing an event, they talk about Amazon's attack. And I go, well, that's not good. So that's the thing, because it's like when you get to like with this, here's the interesting thing about DC. It's that the problem with this story, not only is it a character assassination on Diana that seems like it would be written by Tom King. I had to put in a little Tom King hate in this video, but the thing about it is that, again, it makes no sense, because here's the premise of the story. So the Amazons attack DC because at the time Diana is being held by the government, because this is post her killing Maxwell Lord. And here's the thing. Maybe DC should hire people that are actually good. I know, right? It's because this is one of the examples of when DC only considers this the worst only considers Wonder Woman books to be an obligation and not like a passion. That's this is the example of this. So Diana shows up. The Amazons invade. And what inevitably happens, and this is where things get really like, oh, wow. All right. So oh, God. So the Amazons invade and the Justice League is mobilized. Here's the first sign that this is stupid as hell. All right. This is not the Justice League International that got their ass kicked by Doomsday. No. This is the gods amongst men Justice League, like Superman, Batman, Green Lantern, Flash, Canary. So here's the thing. Any of those characters could take out the entire Amazon army in 2 seconds. Superman alone. This is also the storyline where the Amazons shoot down a fighter jet with, get this, with a bow and arrow. I wish I were kidding, ladies and gents. I wish I were kidding. So what you get with that is really crap stories. And then you get to, I assume DC is mostly hiring writers that they can afford to hire. Probably. But they're not like, because I'm sure you could find a writer that they can afford that loves Wonder Woman. I mean, hello. But the issue is, so then it's like, so the president implements what's called the McCarran Act. And it literally is, it's a real thing. It authorizes the U.S. president to establish internment camps. It's the justification, like in World War II and stuff. So, okay. The president decides he's going to put women in those camps. Yes, that's right. Women. Just like militant feminist women in those camps. And I go, what? Amazons use godly bows and arrows. They're all their weapons. Okay, NJ, that's a good point. Green Lantern could pick them up in a giant glove. Flash could disarm all of them inside of a second. So it's like, what? And then, so here's the other thing about this story. So Hippolyta is resurrected by Cersei, because remember, Hippolyta was dead for like the longest time before this. So she's resurrected by Cersei and like jazzed up to invade man's world to save Diana. And she starts killing people. Yes, exactly, Nick's bees. My God. So she starts murdering people in the street, to the point where multiple Amazons and heroes that like are talking to her go, "This is a bit much, isn't it?" Yes. And then they never do anything about it. They literally never do anything about it. But yeah, exactly. And in this, all right, so she's dating Tom Tresser in this storyline. And first off, when she's landing, she drops Tom Tresser on Black Canary. And I look at it, I'm like, what? Like, why would you do that? Excuse me. So you have that. And then it's like he gets stung by a bee. Well, it's a ginormous magical mythological bee, but he's still stung by a bee. I remember telling this to Brit, and she was like, "Oh my God, yes, bees, the guy, yes, Pika, bees, but oh my gosh, the bees, not the bees." And repeat, and then you have like this with a Banner doll. This is my first exposure to the Banner doll. Again, not a good exposure to that race Amazons. Here's the other thing. So Donna Troy shows up in this story. You may be wondering, what awesome role could Donna Troy have in this story? I'm glad you asked. All right. So the role Donna Troy plays in this story is she shows up, and Hippolyta is essentially saying, "Hey, why don't you why don't you actually talk to Diana?" So Hippolyta says, "Yes, I would love to. Go bring me Diana." Donna Troy leaves, runs into Red Hood, and is never seen in the story ever again. Yeah, that's right. They forget that plot point, because here's the other thing. At the same time that this is going on, DC is doing another event called Countdown. And this was like leading up to Final Crisis. It's because Didio was jealous of the series 52 that everyone loves, myself included. And then he wanted his own version of it that would be just his. Yeah. Yes. Yes. NJ Jason. It's in a tie-in, but because in this book, the way it ends up in the trade is she looks at a like mysterious being, and then the caption goes, "To find out who she meets with, you're gonna have to read Countdown." And then I'm like, no. Amazons, including children, and they got away with it. Yes, the Amazons. The first thing starts off is like this father is at the Lincoln Memorial talking about Abraham Lincoln to his son. The Amazons boom tube in, and then slaughter this kid, slaughter the father and his son, because he is a man. And then the Amazons ask, "Who was he?" And he goes, "The first casualty of war." And the Amazons like invade, and I'm like, this is the stupidest thing in the world. And it's like, the funny part about this is like, there is this occasion where like some other beings like light fire to Smallville because it's like the food supply. So Superman shows up and just extinguishes all the flames. And I go, thanks for telling us how powerful Superman is. And it gets even worse because Hippolyta confronts Diana finds Hippolyta and confronts her and says, okay, you're gonna have to kill your daughter if you really want to if you really want this to stop. You're gonna have to kill your daughter. So Superman picks up Wonder Woman, brings her to Batman to talk strategy. Literally, so she's talking down Hippolyta. Superman picks up Diana, brings her to Batman to say, now what are we gonna do about Hippolyta? Yeah, that was so stupid. So they leave women alone. They never address it, NJ. They literally never address it. The only time we see the Amazons doing it is killing people. And then because the government now has outlawed women, they go into women's shelters and arrest them. And I go, you have any idea how bad this looks, guys? Like, what are you? This storyline just looks horrible. So seeing as how I'll never read this story, Why was this created? I know you said it was mandated, but I refuse to believe Wonder Woman editorial didn't fight this or get it canceled. I think they wanted to give Wonder Woman an event or something like that, but I can't recall why it was like why it was forced to like happen, because it's like, yeah, you're right. There's no reason why this storyline should have been written this way. And the sad part is that the way that this mirrors Tom King's Wonder Woman is the art by Pete Woods is actually pretty good. And I'm going to pull that up in a second. But the art by Pete Woods is actually really good. And as the case with most Wonder Woman runs, the runs themselves are crap, but the art is stellar. But it's like, the more I look at this, it's like, the more you look at this run, I'm like, the hell is this? Who wrote this? This is written by Will Pfeiffer, and he was a Catwoman writer at the time. So that's what he was doing. He was the Catwoman writer at the time. And there's a Catwoman tie-in for some reason in this storyline, and I'm like, okay, this is just so stupid. Or it's like when the Amazons force the president on Air Force One to land, Superman shows up and starts to talk everyone down and like, oh, look, everyone's tensions are really high. Let's not let everything like fall apart. Let's try and de-escalate. And then the Secret Service shows up and kills all the Amazons. Yes, that's literally what happened. A conflicting scene would have been if the Amazons killed a father in front of his daughter or a son in front of his mother, but they probably didn't have the creativity for that. I know! That would have been a much better scene. But here's the thing. Actually, yes, NJ, they do kill women because they shoot down a fighter pilot, again, with a bow and arrow, and the fighter jet crashes. And then they essentially kill the pilot, even though the pilot's a woman. And they never see it. It would be one thing if they did the whole, because she's doing the will of man's world, she needs to be killed like she's a traitor to women. That would be one thing. Do they do that? No, not at all. They do not do that. They do not address it in any way. That's the thing. The like story of this run is like, what's the word? It's essentially wasted opportunities, because it's like, what? And Latvia Dragon, did the writer get fired for this? I don't think so. Hey, what's up, Tavia? I don't think the writer got fired for this. He didn't. And my day is going well, Tavia. Because I think the writer I think Will Pfeiffer continued doing stuff for DC after this point. They could have brought the women of Men's World to Themyscira to fix them. Yeah, that would have been another thing. Again, it's like there's so much that this storyline sets up that could have been really great if they actually did something with it. Do they? No, they really don't. That is the sad part. It's like there is a ridiculous amount of like wasted opportunity with the storyline that if they have actually executed on it, it could have been actually pretty cool. But did they? No, they really didn't, even though they really should have. There is so many great ideas set up in this that they could have done extremely well. And I'm just like, what? Honestly, I personally think they will oh, you mean wait, personally I think Will Pfeiffer, you mean the writer, got a bad hand because he ain't a bad writer, but he has hand tied. Yeah, exactly. But it's like, here's the thing, even the parts that don't tie in to like Countdown and such, it's still a bad storyline. So that's the difference, Tavia. It would be one thing if it was just the ties into Countdowns that were bad, but no, it's like everything is horrible. That's the thing. It's not just that, but it's like, here's the problem. Again, this storyline cannot be done when the Justice League is like most of the gods, and it's because it's like Green Lantern could take out like everyone here by just creating a giant hand or a giant cage or a dome, putting it over them, and then just saying, okay, until you guys cool down, until we talk this out, you're staying in the dome. That's it. That's what you could have done. Or Flash, again, super speed, could have disarmed every single Amazon and said, nope, 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 nope. You are going to you're not allowed to have weapons until you like resolve this and stop being hostile to people. There is absolutely no justifying this, which is a shame because Amazon's attack should have worked. I know. And here's the thing. They did another Amazon's attack storyline at the same time as the first like couple of issues of Tom King's Wonder Woman that were great. That's the thing. It's so it's bad. It's interesting when another writer does infinitely better with this concept. You can't even excuse that the heroes are holding themselves back. I know, right? But it's like that's the sad part about this. And then you may be wondering, Jared, how does this run? How does the storyline end? Okay. How does it end, you may ask? So finally, Hippolyta finally gets Diana finally gets Hippolyta to stand down, and then Circe shows up and tries to kill Hippolyta. But then the goddess Athena shows up and basically admonishes every single one of them for not stopping this, because it was like this was a test. You didn't stop. You didn't speak up when stuff was going intense. You didn't do this. You didn't do this. And then it's like all of you will be punished. So Hippolyta is banished to Themyscira. And she's the only person on the island. You may be wondering what happened to everyone else. All the other Amazons are to inhabit the bodies of regular women doing menial jobs. And then we cut to Olympus. On Olympus, we see the other Greek gods are chained up. And they go, Athena, why are you going to why are you doing this to us? What are you going to do to us? And then it's revealed that Athena was Granny Goodness in disguise the entire time. Yes, that's right. This was all the machinations of Granny Goodness. And it's not a sequel, Tevia. It wasn't a sequel. It was just they were using the storyline name. It wasn't a sequel to it. A sequel would have directly picked up after the events of this or referenced it. It didn't. But I'm like, no. The more I see this, Countdown to Final Crisis. That's what the event was. And it's like, this was literally just a set-up event just to set up Final Crisis and Countdown. That's all this is. And honestly, it's one of those events where I'm like, why does this exist? Yeah, bringing the new gods made it even worse. Yeah, exactly. Because I'm like, why is Granny Goodness all of a sudden being wise and then going away? None of this storyline made sense. I heard it from JJheat Plays that people rioted and threatened stores over these comics. Is that true? I have no idea. I have no idea if that's true. Probably is, but I'm like, regardless, it's like looking at this storyline, I'm just like, what is I never understood what this storyline was or what was going on with it. It was like the stupidest thing I have ever seen. And it's one of those things where I'm like, the problem with this storyline, everyone, is that then whenever anyone says that Wonder Woman should have her own event, people go, yeah, but she had Amazon's attack and that was horrible. So people attribute that damage, the badness of Amazon's attack, to Wonder Woman. And it's like, no, that's just a horrible event that was set up by the writers. Why are you doing this? It's like none of this made any remote of sense. And it's like, let's look at some art from it, because the art is the redeeming quality here. Amazon's attack. Okay, I'm gonna pull up some of Amazon's attack, and then we'll look at Pete Woods' art. And Pete Woods is a really good artist on this, so that's one of the redeeming quality. So here's like, all of a sudden the boom tube opens, and all in the National Mall, there are all these mythological creatures who we don't see do anything cool. And then the Amazons kill this father and his son, and then just invade somehow, by the way, the Amazons invade the White House when the White House is protected by machine guns and snipers. That doesn't work. Then Black Lightning shows up, and we see Cersei is manipulated by Hippolyta, and she basically says, bring us Wonder Woman or all of you are going to die. And again, it's like, the more I really... I just really... I can't even, like... There's nothing I can justify besides the art on this. Wonder Woman deserves her big events. Yeah, exactly. There was a good Wonder Woman event called League of One. It's disguised as a Justice League book, but it's not an event comics though, Randy. And an event comics is like one that crosses over everything. And League of One is questionable whether or not it's actually canon to the main universe. It's a good book, don't get me wrong, but it's questionable if like it's actually canon to the events of the main DC universe. That's the problem with it. And then you get, let's see, what else do we get that's really stupid? Then, so you see Wonder Woman sees Hippolyta, and then watch this. So, by the way, here's the fighter jet being shot down by bows and arrows, and then them killing the pilot. And then the Justice League shows up and basically goes to work. Green Lantern repairs all the damage, and then Batman's coordinating. And then Donna Troy shows up to see Hippolyta and goes, "Why don't you? I'm going to get you, Diana." And then you see this shrouded being. I love this where Donna goes, "You again," and then Red Hood goes, "Yes, me." And then he goes, "See countdown to find out who this person is." And I go, "Nope, not reading it." I love this where all the Amazons are like, "This is kind of messed up, isn't it?" And then he goes, "Yeah, it is." Anyway, and then here's Superman going to Smallville to protect it from burning down. He saves everyone, and it's like, thanks for showing us that Superman could like freeze everyone. It's like, again, the storyline doesn't work when the Justice League is made up of gods. It's the same reason why it's one of the main reasons why the Death of Superman animated movie does not work, since that's not the League that got their ass kicked by Doomsday. And then Hippolyta basically says, we're going to kill everyone and such. And then here's the McCarran Act, which it's a Cold War thing that basically means he can put people in internment camps. And yes, that is right. They want to put all the women in internment camps. And then the Wonder Girl, and then Cassie shows up alongside Supergirl, because they're both Amazons and such. And then Oracle coordinates and says, "Oh yeah, Gotham's under attack." All these cities are suddenly under attack by unknown forces. It's almost like this is a big distraction to distract the heroes while other stuff is happening, but they never address it. And again, these two Amazons, it's actually Artemis. It makes it even worse. So Artemis asks, "This is going kind of far, isn't it?" And the other Amazon says, "Yeah." And then guess what? They said, yes, someone has to do something. And then it's never done again. And then I love this. Supergirl and Cassie like hover in front of Air Force One and go, "Bring this plane down, or we'll bring it down for you." Because Hippolyta basically says, if you bring me the president, we'll negotiate for peace. Even though Hippolyta's probably going to kill the U.S. president. We all know that. And so here's the scene. So Hippolyta and Diana have that confrontation. And then Diana says, "You're going to have to kill your own daughter, mother. Are you going to do it?" And then Superman picks up Diana, brings her to Batman to talk strategy. It's essentially like Superman picked up Diana, brings her to, as she was talking down to Hippolyta, brings her to Batman and goes, "So what are we going to do about Hippolyta?" See how stupid this sounds? This whole story. See, here's the thing, and people have asked, wasn't this like mandated by editorial? Yes, I would accept that as a justification, except if the overall story was well written, and I'm sorry, it's just not. This is just not well written. And then the Amazons are flying Pegasi and shoot down Air Force One. And I'm like, again, it's like, I'm not believing this. And then Superman convinces everyone to lay down their arms. And then the army just shoots all the Amazons and kills them. And I go, what are you doing? None of this makes any remote sense. And then they deploy like some type of like dome over Washington, D.C. to keep people out. And it's just so Superman can't get back inside, but they can communicate inside. It's kind of like under the dome. And then we have this character named Grace Choi, who's actually an Amazon in the Banner. And then you have like Diana fights her way inside. And then the more it's like the more you explain the story, the more it falls apart. And then it's like Batman confronts Cersei, and Cersei tries to like use her magic, but then Batman learns a spell from Zatanna that basically turns off her magic for like an hour, and then she goes and he takes her out. And then the Justice League shows up to fight the Amazons and save them. And then Amazons Attack 6 should be the last issue. Again, it's like, the art in this is really good. That's the sad part, as it is with a lot of these good storylines. The art is good. It's just a storyline that is utter crap. And then Hippolyta basically says, hey, look, Diana says, look, we've taken down Cersei. Whatever, you can't claim that you're being influenced by Cersei anymore. Whatever you do is your own choice. And then Hippolyta throws the sword down, and then Athena shows up and basically like takes out Cersei and then punishes everyone, and then says all of you are gonna be I can tolerate Cersei disrespect, specifically by plot armor man. I can't tolerate that. Exactly. It's really, 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 really dumb. It is uttermost stupidity in the storyline. Then look, it's Granny Goodness, to quote Linkara, Granny Goodness, dun, da, da, da. Yeah. So that's Amazon's Attack. And it's like, again, it's one of those occasions where I get what they were going for. It's like they keep trying to give Wonder Woman events, but they keep not putting the best writers to do that. Because it's like, look, if you give Diana, if you give these storylines to someone that actually gets the character, then and that understands DC, and most importantly understands Diana, what you can get is you can get someone that understood that like can write the good story for the event, but can do it in a way that respects Diana. That is the key part. Because the way to do an event is you need a good writer, and you need to let them write, but you need to make an event because here's what the event does. Here's why Wonder Woman needs a big event that's labeled Wonder Woman, that uses Wonder Woman. Because that way, more of the DC audience is exposed to Wonder Woman's world. Therefore, they then can't claim that like no one cares about Wonder Woman or her universe or something like that. That's why Wonder Woman needs a good event, so that everyone can like see what we see every day and say, "Oh my gosh, Wonder Woman also has fantastic events. I love this. Why hasn't DC showcased this?" And I'm like, because again, that would require more writers to actually care about Diana, which again, that could be true. That could very much be true that a lot of writers do care about Diana. But I'm like, then you need to demonstrate it because so far you haven't. The last Wonder Woman writer that actually cared about Diana, I would say, was Greg Rucka in the first run. The second run was utter crap. The Rebirth Rucka run, and that'll definitely be an episode I do where I talk about why it's one of the worst storylines. But it's like I'm just looking at this and I go, it's like, but actually, here's the thing: the writer that I think best got Diana, holy, is, get this, is the George Perez run. I know, big surprise. The George Perez run is the storyline, is the run where, yeah, you could really tell us. I mean, even like War of the Gods, even though it may not have been the best event, you still feel the love for Diana in that run that you just, again, never really like got. And it's really stupid here. And the more I check this out, it's like the more I'm like, the more I revisit like a lot of these later runs. Granted, not all of them are as bad as like King's Run. This is the only Wonder Woman story where I would say is worse than King's Run. This is the only one. The only one. Because it's like this was a cash grab. Not once did I ever feel any amount of love. At least in the King's Run, I feel the love in the art. The art is good. The writing may be by someone that obviously hates Wonder Woman, but the art is superb, like utterly superb. So that's why I'm maybe a little stiff at times, but the art in the King Run is actually pretty good. But it's like with this, it's like, no, nothing I really can see here is in any way like really great. Charles Soule did a great job with Wonder Woman. Yes. Oh, and I'm definitely going to cover that maybe one day. That'll be fun. What needs to change for DC to put good writers on an event? Well, Absolute is helping, NJ, because it's like they need to see that Wonder Woman is worth the investment. And honestly, people need to, the fans, here's what needs to change from the fan base perspective. They need to stop constantly arguing about if she's bi or if she's not. They need to stop focusing so much on who she sleeps with and start advocating for her getting good storylines. That's the other problem, because DC most likely looked at it and is like, okay, so we could put whoever we want on Wonder Woman because the fan base doesn't care. They really only care about like who she sleeps with. We could put literally anyone on the book. So that's really what needs to change. The fan base needs to go, okay, let's get her a sustainable run of good stories. And then guess what? Then we can maybe focus on that. Or here's a better idea. Don't give her a love interest, period. Just focus on giving her good books. If you give her good books, guess what? Then she has like that advantage. But you need to give it, you need to start seeing what they need to start treating Wonder Woman not as an obligation to publish, even though they are obligated contractually with the Marstons to publish a certain amount of Wonder Woman books per year, but they need to stop seeing it like that and see it more like the love and the worshiping the character that deserves it. And the way they do that is by being way more selective on which writers they put on the book. Because if you put like someone that like George Perez or Phil Jimenez, yes, yeah, Cameron, I do agree on that. But it's like, look, when you put someone like Phil Jimenez, when you put someone like even Greg Rucka back in the day, or like George Perez, exactly, on someone that absolutely you could feel the love for the character in everything they write, guess what you get? Some of the most memorable runs that literally everyone talks about today. So I'm just like, look, it's not like this is a hard thing to do. if you focus on, if you put more, because here's the thing, if you put as much like focus and like priority on her in terms of putting good writers, if you care more about who you put on her than you do, if you care as much of who you have write Wonder Woman as you do with, like, let's say Superman or Batman, then you can get good Wonder Woman stories. It's just, no, you don't. And honestly, you need a new editor, because the editorial on Wonder Woman keeps letting stuff pass that should not be let pass. Like, again, it's like they keep going back and forth on stuff. They keep changing storylines without any need. Isn't it funny that Wonder Woman, how Wonder Woman gets more respect when she is paired with Superman, especially when you take Lois out of the equation? Isn't that funny? It's really not that hard. Yeah, anyone that tells you that writing Wonder Woman is hard is the person that doesn't get Wonder Woman. Like, again, King has said that. Big surprise. Anyone that tells you that Wonder Woman is a hard character to write, no, they're lying. Or like they don't obviously understand the character enough to learn it. Because Britt and I will tell you, it's not hard to write Wonder Woman. All you need to do, and again, this is all you need to do. Here is the key to writing Wonder Woman. Not like focus on the love interest. That's the first part. And then what you need to do, then what you need to do. So not only do you need to like to not focus on the love interest at all. Arguably, I would say no. I'm done. We're not giving a Diana a love interest in this run. Period. In the entire run, she will not have a love interest. And you need to use. Okay, hang on. I'm going to show you this. All right. Look to this. Use the Perez run as the basis around which you really expand and write Wonder Woman. Because guess what? When you look at the Perez run, this is the most memorable run that people still talk about, even though it was from the 80s. Like, this is the first Wonder Woman run from post-crisis, and it's like the most memorable Wonder Woman run of all time. So you have this. Use this as a basis. Like, because what did Perez do? She didn't have a love interest. She had some romantic tension with Superman, but she didn't have a love interest. And then you focus on just expanding who Diana is, who she is as a character, why she is the third member of the Trinity. At the time, the Trinity didn't exist, but you know what I'm talking about. Why she is, in many ways, and I will argue this on Wonder Woman Wednesday this week, shameless plug, why she is the most important DC character. She is 100% the most important character DC puts out. And I'm not going to tell you why, because I want you to watch the video I'm going to make. But the point is, that's what you get. When you put someone on there that adores the character, like I do, like Britt does, like George did, even like Phil did, and Greg, look at what you get. This is why when you look at like the Wonder Woman runs of post-crisis, short of the John Byrne run, you have hit after hit after hit after hit after hit. Gail Simone run is kind of controversial, but if you look at what made Wonder Woman so awesome in this, Steve Trevor was never her love interest. That's the other thing there. When people say that Steve has always been her love interest, no. Yes, in the new 52, yes, but that was they broke up, and then Rebirth put them together, and then G. Willow Wilson broke them up. I talked about that run in a previous episode. And then they haven't been dating for 5 years. And then in post-crisis, she never dated Steve because he was an older man that she like helped. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying cut Steve out entirely. I'm just saying don't have him be a love interest. He works best when he is not a love interest. So it's like that's what you guys have to. That's what DC has to really like. That's what you really have to go off. That's what you have to realize. It's like, look, you have to bite the bullet. I know some writers self-identify with Steve and think that like, oh, because I was in the CIA and he was in the military, I really identify with him. So I want to date Wonder Woman. So I need to make him date Wonder Woman. I know you have that weird self-insert mentality, but you need to stop it. You need to, because look, this shows you it's not hard to write Diana at all. This shows you. Or, yes, NJ brings up an excellent point. Kelly Thompson. I'm going to pull up my Absolute Wonder Woman trait, as a matter of fact. It's like, look, this shows you. Because again, this should not have worked. This is Diana that we all thought when this book was first announced that it was just going to be, oh, Wonder Woman's going to be Kratos and she's going to be like the angry warrior, which that was the original plan when Kelly came on board. But when Kelly looked at it, she goes, I just can't write her this way. So she literally just plucked Diana. She's writing as if Diana from the main universe was kidnapped and placed in the Absolute universe. That's what it is. She acts exactly like regular Diana. She's just as much a hero as regular Diana is. She is in no way evil or aggressive like Kratos or anything like that. If anything, she's witty and funny, way more than the main Wonder Woman. So it's like, look, this shows you again, it's not hard to do. And by the way, this is one of the top selling books at DC right now. So that's the other thing. And by the way, NJ, that's the other thing. It's like the reason why this could drop below the top 10 is because sometimes Marvel books sell really well. Sometimes they don't. When Marvel books sell really well and get into the top 10, obviously it pushes books below. But when you look at how many DC books are like in that top 10 list, this is still in like the top 5, if you will. But that's my point there. But it's like, look at this. Use this as a model. Not in terms of like how the status quo should look, because obviously I don't want the main universe Wonder Woman to be in hell. But if you focus on who Diana is, because so far she has no love interest. Look at this. All of the best Wonder Woman runs and stories are where she really doesn't have a main love interest, like at all. That's almost like it's telling you something. And I believe someone in my chat brought up that, like, how about DC not give her a Wonder Woman a love interest, period, because Diana is in fact in many ways married to her work. It's a lot of the ways, like it's like what Charles Sewell said in Superman Wonder Woman in the Doomed storyline, where Diana says Clark and I have this mutual understanding that we didn't even have to say that the world will always come first, which also conflicts with when Tom King had Batman say that Wonder Woman loves Steve Trevor more than the world. And I go, bro, that is in no way consistent with the character. Like, I'm sorry, in no way is that consistent with any version of Wonder Woman, particularly modern Wonder Woman. So again, tell me you don't like Wonder Woman, or you know what's bad when the shills are starting to say that they like Steve Trevor as a character more than Diana just by reading the Wonder Woman book. That should tell you something very bad. Very, 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 very bad. But yeah, my point is, when you look at this, these runs, there are too many good Wonder Woman stories for me to believe that it's hard to write her. If there were like one or two good stories, then that would be one thing. But no, there's literally, like, in terms of runs, there's literally, like, look at Post-Crisis. You have Perez, Byrne, Mesner Lobes was also really good. Rocca, Jimenez, Rocca, somewhat Simone. Even like Azzarello was good as an Elseworlds book. I talked about that on a previous episode of Amazon Answers. And then you have, like, with this, you have once Rocca left with left Rebirth, it all of a sudden got good. That's the other thing. You have like the Just War. You have the Orlando run. There was a ridiculous amount of good Wonder Woman runs. Way more for me to believe that. So I'm like, no, it wasn't hard for them to give good Wonder Woman stories. So either, so what it probably is that they're too lazy to do the work that goes into making Wonder Woman a really good, like, to making good Wonder Woman stories. That's it. They are that lazy. And I'm like, no, I'm sorry, that doesn't work. That really is like that is the admission of laziness right there. The utter admission of that. And I'm like, well, first off, I really appreciate you at least being honest about you don't have very many ideas that are consistent with the Wonder Woman character. That's the other thing. When they say that, they say that like she's hard to write because they want to be able to change her to make it easier for them to write her. And I go, no, I'm sorry. If you have to change the character for you to write them, then you should not be writing the character. Sorry, that's just the way it works. Not everyone, it's not someone's right to write Wonder Woman. Let me put it to you that way. It's a privilege. And if you're not going to respect that privilege, you should not be writing the character. It is literally that simple. What else you guys got? Let's talk. Let's gab. What questions do you guys have? What like ideas do you guys have? It can be about Amazon's attack. It can really be about anything. Just like unleash your questions, ladies and gents. Unleash your questions. Is there any particular like? Are there any particular like runs and stories that you would like me to cover on the show? Because I'm definitely going to do it. So that's definitely going to happen. You can ask me anything. And before you ask about when I'm going to do absolute Amazons, wait, are you and Britt going live tonight or is it going to be pre-recorded? It's going to be live. It's going to be live. It's definitely going to be live. It's we had some issues. We had some technical. Britt had some family issues last night that she had to take care of. So we had to postpone to today. But it'll be live at 8 p.m. Tonight. We're doing 8 p.m. So in the event that this goes for 3 hours, I can do it because this is the day before I go to work again. I work in the morning tomorrow. So I just want to like make sure I can give you guys a good substantial episode. And yeah, before you guys ask, Britt and I are going to do, Britt and I plan on doing a Super Wonder episode about a year of absolute Wonder Woman. And then I will do an Amazon's attack on them. Amazon's attack, and Amazon answers on them when the book when issue 12 comes out, because I want to be able to to go off of the first year of the book and like the total stories. So that's what I'm going off of right now. You should consider. Yes, I definitely will do that, NJ. That's on the list. I really want to. Because I really wanted to do that for like a really long time as a story. I've heard that's really fun and good. So absolutely, pun intended, I am going to definitely do that. That's going to happen. The problem with Wonder Woman and Superman is writers are more concerned with how they make Lois and Steve relevant. Exactly. It's like that was one of the things that like King said is like he's going into this wanting people to like Steve Trevor. And I go, bro, here's the problem with that. You're not writing Steve Trevor. You are writing Wonder Woman. And if you're more focused on that, then you should have pitched a Steve Trevor book. I'm sorry. No, that I do not accept that as a like excuse. And if he tries to make that excuse, we can say, yeah, that's BS, bro. Because watch, here's the thing. When he leaves the book, he will say that like I had all these ideas and DC like told me to like stop them. And I go, yeah, I'm believing that. But it's like, yeah, if you have to downplay the main character of the book in order to prop up a support character, maybe that support character isn't as great as you're trying to make them out to be. That's always been my opinion of Lois. Old Man Steve works better anyway, and gives Diana and even the Wonder Girls a father figure to look up to. Exactly. That's why that worked in that run, because Steve was more of a father figure slash older brother figure, and that worked really well for Diana. But it's like, no, all they did is like really screw that up. It's they want it's because it's too many writers also use Steve as their self-insertion, which is why if I were in charge, again, I like this way, if I had my way, I would keep Steve dead. I would keep him dead for many years. As a matter of fact, I would essentially Alfred him, because it's like, I think at this point he's not needed. Here's the thing about Steve. He's a walking plot device to get her off the island. Once he gets off the island, his usefulness to her completely evaporates faster than putting a cup of water in a volcano. Like, sorry, that's it. He is one of the most useless and worthless parts of her lore. And you know what's kind of funny? Again, anyone that tries to keep justifying Steve's existence, you notice how whenever they try and like emphasize Steve, it always, and I mean, and I'm gonna say this as an absolute statement because it's true, always end up downplaying Diana and making Diana less of a character. Yeah. So I'm like, no, I'm not. That's why I hate Steve. Wonder Woman might not need a father, but a father figure to help give her a more positive view on men. Yes, that's what Perez did with Steve. He was more of like a father / older brother to serve that purpose. And look at how that run is revered by writers, even though somewhat you could say it's very like when a lot of writers praise it and say, "Oh, this is like the best Wonder Woman run ever." A lot of the times it could come off as it could come off as like PR, just saying that for PR. But really, when you look at it, I'm still of the opinion that like if you're gonna say that Perez is the model, why do you keep trying to distance yourself from Perez? That is the key thing. If you notice, all the writers, particularly nowadays, with like again with Perez, I mean with Tom King, keep saying, "Oh, Perez is like the best Wonder Woman writer. He's the model." Really? Then why are you constantly like contradicting it or going against it in your run? If it's the model, that just shouldn't happen. So that's the weird part here. That is honestly the strangest part of this like storyline. But anyway, what other questions do you have on this? The fact that DC ignored, that's the other thing. You prop up Steve and talk about how important she is to Wonder Woman, but you leave out two very vital characters. And then when you try and include Silver Swan Vanessa, you completely misinterpret the character dynamic she has with Diana as some sort of unrequited love and stuff. And I go, that's never been Vanessa Capitalis and Diana. That has never been a thing. Like never. And before you say, post Christ, wasn't like a Silver Swan like that? No, not even the previous Silver Swan was in love with Diana, bro. So it's like, no. Again, the more I hear people justify that, that's why whenever someone tries and defends the King run, they're allowed to like it. Don't get me wrong. But I always reply with, how much Wonder Woman have you read? And about, I'd say 10 times out of 10 to 9 to 10 times out of 10, they will say, admittedly, not that much. And I go, then don't tell me that at the King run is like the greatest Wonder Woman run ever. It's really annoying how Steve is getting the lowest treatment. Exactly. That's why I'm like, you're making, here's the irony. In King trying to make Diana, like Steve, a thing, because he came, one of the interviews he gave before coming onto this run was about how Steve Trevor is not really seen as like a good character and stuff, and he wants to change that. The funny part about it is like you literally did the opposite with you literally did the opposite with Steve. Your writing made people hate Steve even more. Current Vanessa lusted after Diana. I know that has never been a thing, even pre this. That is a Tom King invention right there. That has never, ever, 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 ever been a thing in post crisis, New 52 to post New 52 and Rebirth. That has 0% of the time been a thing. It's never even been hinted or indicated. Never. Not once, not twice, not ever, not implied, nothing. So when people try and say, "Oh yeah, it definitely was," I'm like, no, under no circumstances. I'm sorry, that's not the way that relationship has ever been represented, and honestly, it never will be. It really never will be, because as soon as, again, this is the one part that's holding me on for hope of this run, because as soon as it ends, nothing in this run will be referenced, and a lot of it will be retconned out. I'm still convinced that due to the utter flopping of Tom King's Wonder Woman, Tom King's Trinity, like utter flopping, because it's not even, it is continually to go down due to the utter flopping of this. I don't see a scenario where Trinity sticks around. I just don't. I'm sorry. No. Wonder Woman 2 is flopping hard. Yeah, that's true. But I'm saying in terms of Trinity, because here's the thing about Trinity. Once King leaves, she is the only remnant of that run. So if you retcon her out, you can literally pretend like his entire run never happened. And you can just ignore it and say it never happened, or like that was an Elseworlds version of Diana. We're not referencing it at all ever again. That's what you do, because that's honestly the ideal thing. Okay? And that's what DC always does with his runs. Like, come on. They always wait for it to wrap up, and then it like wraps up in a way that it never happened. Or like they straight up contradict it, because look what happened with his Batman run. It ends with like Catwoman with Batman. It's like, we're gonna make it. They even made it so like we don't need marriage in order to be wholly devoted to each other. Literally the next issue by James Tynion. Or James Tynion, or like Chip Zdarsky. The point is, literally the next run, actually it was Tynion after King. Literally the next run, they're broken up and she's with someone else. Isn't that funny? It's almost as if DC let him do what he wanted, and then they're like, okay, quick, end it. Hey, what's up, Legion? How you doing? Yeah, I'm talking about the worst Wonder Woman story ever, Amazon's Attack. It is like utterly stupid. Bro, Trini showed up in that preview. Yeah, I know. I feel like Zdarsky lied when he said, "Oh yeah, Diana and Captain America aren't like romantically involved," and I go, liar. Anyway, the point about this is, like, when you look at Amazon's Attack, this is a life lesson of never doing. Just got back from a lot of stuff. What did you say about bees? My God. Okay, bees. So, it's like the thing about bees, my God, is like, that's the other thing. When you look at it, it's like, it's probably Batman. It's probably meant to be it being bees. My God, it's bees. Like the Nicolas Cage joke, but it ends up reading like bees. My God, like bees. Really, it's bees. Yeah, it's like, no, Legion. I read the entire book, and the more I read this, literally the worse it gets. You could flip. I mean, bees. My God, as a way to summarize the silliness of the story. Yeah, actually, if there's one line, if there's a meme that can be used to describe this story, it's bees. My God, it's like, yeah, that is the sentence. In fact, it would be hilarious if like they reprinted the trade, which they're never going to do, and put on the top here, bees. My God, that would be the greatest thing in the world if that's how they reprint it. Like, even DC knows it's bad. Now, you may be wondering, how, Jared, you mentioned before that DC did another Amazon's attack in the more modern day. By modern day, I mean like near the beginning of the King run, and you said that was better. How is it better? Well, okay, so it's a Nubia story, which really expands on her character, and I love that. It shows what's going on behind the scenes with like the Amazons being kidnapped. It also shows that it also explains that the Amazons have been traveling to man's world for a while. And then the other thing that it really does, which is utterly superb and fantastic, is we get the greatest catchphrase ever. Like, this is how you make a good catchphrase, Tom King. Whenever Cassie goes through a wall, like smashes through a wall, she goes, "Secret entrance!" And then when she leaves, she goes, "Secret exit!" And then I love where Yara goes, "Are you going to scream that every time you go through a wall?" And then Cassie goes, "When you are the one smashing through walls first, then you can come up with the catchphrase. In the meantime, yes, I'm going to say secret entrance." And it really like expands on that story. It's written by Josie Campbell. So if you guys really like, if you guys want to see a good version of this and what this should have been, it's that storyline. That's why Josie Campbell is on at least my list of writers that I would relatively trust with Wonder Woman and say, okay, I think, I mean, let me put it this way. I would still be wary of Josie because of some of the ways that she has written Diana in the past. However, it would be more like, okay, there's about I would say a 60% chance that this could be good. I would say, yeah, a 60% chance it can be good. Yeah, I trust Josie write that. Not, yeah, exactly. That's the other thing. Josie knows how to write a good, lighthearted Wonder Woman story and like a good, lighthearted story, period. So it's like, look at Supergirl. Everyone telling me that's so good. I'm waiting until it's in the trade because I'm too far behind for it. So I'm going to wait until it's in the trades and then I'll check it out. But again, I've heard great things about that. It's like she knows how to write female characters and make them good. That's the really interesting part about it. And that's why I think I'm going to leave this episode. But yeah, so Amazon's attack, I give it probably a 2 just for the art. And then NJ says, "I truly hope things change for Wonder Woman and her lore. DC must put creators who care about it and want to write her." Yeah, exactly. Starting with Kelly. Oh, Kelly Thompson on the book would be killer. So so let's do our regular poll. So we're going to poll on what you guys want, on what you guys want me to cover. So let's do this. So we will do next week's topic. Hang on. Have people made a petition against DC to respect Diana? There's the hashtag, the King of Wonder Woman hashtag on Twitter, but I don't think anyone's made a change.com petition if that's what you're talking about. That would be hilarious if that also explodes like the hashtag did. But anyway, so we're going to do Jimenez as one. We'll do Rucka, Rebirth. We'll do... It's another option that we can do. We can do... I would say, let's see, Tamaki. And we'll also do, let's say, Future State Wonder Woman. Including Immortal Wonder Woman. So let's do that. So the poll is live. So vote in there what storyline you would like me to cover next week. And then while you guys do that, Premium Wonder Woman 25 where Matriarch kills all of the I know. That preview just looks so stupid. And I'm sorry, I don't get... The Matriarch would not kill the entire Justice League. Superman, magic vulnerability, but still he's super fast. The Flash, Green Lantern has fought other Green Lanterns, so there's no way that would work. I'm like, that's just, again, him wanting to like hype up his OCs, even though it's so stupid. He did the same thing with Trinity, where she's like the leader of the Justice League. Odd question. How do you feel about Shazam's portrayal of the Greek gods versus Wonder Woman? How about how Shazam portrayed? I don't read that much Shazam, so I can't really testify to that per se. But I let me put it to you this way: I do enjoy the way the gods are portrayed in all of them, except for King. But that's besides the point. So let's see. So far, Future State Wonder Woman is winning at 50%. What are you talking about? The Matrix kills the Justice League. And Mouseman can break the tiara. I know. Mouseman crushing the Divine Tiara is so stupid again. It's just King wanting to hype up his stuff. And you notice the issue going back to like 84 is like, that shows me that I was correct in saying that the only reason why the last issue went up to like 54 was because of Sempere coming back on the book, which is sad. It's sad that Sempere is attached to such a crappy run. But anyway, so far, Jimenez has 25%, Tamaki has 25%, Future State is winning, and so far, okay. So far, Jimenez, Rucka, Rebirth, and Tamaki all have 20%. Future State is still winning, so I'm going to let you guys. How do you think King will write the matriarch? What will she be like? Totally cringe and like. Let me put it this way. You know how he's written Adult Trinity? Like that, only 10 times worse. That's the way I'm going to answer that. So look at the way he wrote Adult Trinity and then go, oh no. But anyway, so okay. So far, again, Future State is winning, and that includes like the Yara story, and it also includes and there was also a Nubia story in that as well. And then it was also Immortal Wonder Woman, which is one of the best Wonder Woman stories ever. Also, I think Wonder Woman could kill the Adjusting the Dark timeline, but Diana is different because she's even in the whether or not it's Clay Origin or Zeus, she is enhanced by the gods, and the matriarch is not. And plus, it's still like she kills the Justice League, but she also kills all of the Amazons, including all the Wonder Girls and Diana. And I just go, no, that's not the way that would ever happen. I'm sorry. It's like his entire run is just, again, stupid. Also, Jared, I just got Justice Gears for PSP and the PS3. What are your thoughts on the game? I played through it on my gaming show that's like on every Thursday. It's really good. It's like a really fun Justice League game that needs more love. So I am glad you're checking out. It's really fun. What do you want to bet? The matriarch will be Mouseman's sidekick despite killing the Justice League. Yep, exactly. I mean, this is the man that had Grail, the daughter of Darkseid, be the lackey of the Sovereign, a human. So anything is possible in that cringy BS. But yeah. So, and by the way, so you guys are reminded about what's going on. All right. So tonight at 8 p.m., Britt and I will be going live to compare Wonder Woman to Kratos. We'll be talking about the God of War games, what a God of War style Wonder Woman game would look like, and why they are comparable. In terms of like Amazon of Wonder Woman Wednesday, I'm going to be discussing why Diana is the most important DC character. Under Two Capes, I'm going to be having my friend. I'm going to have it. We haven't figured out what we're going to do for Under Two Capes. On Friday, I'm going to be having my friend Moby's Gaming on to talk about how 343 Industries have screwed up Halo and why Microsoft really screwed the pooch with Halo. Yeah, boy, read more Wonder Woman comics to know how to fight the gods. Exactly. That's actually a really good point. But yeah, so so we have a 4-way tie. So far, Tamaki and Future State are tied in the lead both at 33%, and Jimenez and Rucka both have 17%. Oh boy. And there's it would be fun if they did Absolute Super Wonder. Yeah, that would be fun. I would like that. So all right, guys. So there's 10 of you watching now, and there's only 6 votes. So I know there's some of you that haven't voted that haven't voted yet. So again, check that, or I'll pick between Tamaki and Future State Wonder Woman. So just let me know, and then we'll go off of that. So a vote, and then we'll go off of that. And then in terms of next week's movie night is going to be Zack Snyder's Justice League, the best DC movie in my opinion. And yeah, and then obviously in terms of, and by the way, Super Wonder Legacy next Saturday, it's the episode after Kratos will be, let me pull that up, will be Superman's most overrated stories. So NJ says Tamaki. All right. So far, NJ, have you voted yet? If you haven't, please do. I'm gonna give this another. A Future State is great too. Yeah, I'm gonna give this like another. Another second or two, and then I'm going to like wrap up. If I can ask, I mean no offense, how different was Snyder's Justice League from? It's almost as if it's a completely different movie. Battle Goon, Snyder's Justice League will make you doubt it. It will make you doubt WB's capacity. It will fully demonstrate just how studio interference can ruin a movie. Because when you look at Zack Snyder's Justice League, it's dramatically better. It's longer for sure, but it's dramatically better. Wonder Woman is mucho respected. Superman is a badass. Cyborg is like the heart of the movie. Batman's great. Yeah, to definitely look that up. It's like the Snyder Cut should have been the Justice League movie released. All right. So I'm going to vote, and I'll do a coin toss because either of those I like. So coin toss. So that's what we're going to do. All right. Heads, it's Tamaki. Tails, it's Future State. Flipping. All right. We're doing Future State, Wonder Woman. So we are going to be doing Future State, Immortal Wonder Woman. Do you think DC can bounce back from the DCEU hurting its rep? We'll see. We'll certainly see, particularly with a possible buyout by Paramount in the thing. Are you Two-Face? I can neither confirm nor deny. The more King remains, the more damage he will do. I know. Let me put it this way. If it drops below 100, then I think they'll at least make some changes. At best, at worst. At best, they could remove him if it drops below the 100th place. Because according to at least Jim from Weird Science, what he told me, what DC people have told him, is that there is a there's a sales ceiling that once a writer passes that ceiling, that's it, they're done. Timo's saying, do you think Amazon attack is the worst global event in history of the DC? Yes, it's the worst in any way. King fans won't allow it. No. There's not enough King fans to prop this story up, NJ. It's still flopping, despite the fact that all of King's fans are reading the book. That's the key thing there. The changes they will make. Wonder Woman rang and Harley Quinn came with a Batman cameo. Yeah, probably. But I don't know. You know what? Let's see. Let's see what happens, because again, this month Wonder Woman 25 comes out. So let's see. Let's see if the debut issue of the Matriarch can make people care, because otherwise, because again, if it keeps dropping like this, I don't see a scenario where he stays on the book. I hope my cynicism is proven wrong. Honestly, DC has been more focused on good stories recently, so I have a little bit more hope that and that's just me. That could be the optimist in me. Hopefully with the buyout, they will get rid of these outdated writers. We'll see, because here's the thing. Chances are Paramount will only care about the DC movies and not necessarily the comics, but we'll see. I could be wrong on that, but I think it's a good place to leave it. So anyway, I already told you guys what we're talking about. So next week, we're going to be talking about the Immortal Wonder Woman storyline, and then has the buyout gone through? No, it's a proposed buyout. Paramount has said they want to make a bid to buy WB, but it's not like it's happening now. And but see, even if it does happen, it'll be like 6 months down the line to a year. But anyway, that's where we're gonna leave it. So stay heroic, everyone. Remember, Lois Lane is Lois Lane, and Steve Trevor is Steve Never. She belongs to General Zod. He belongs at the bottom of a hydraulic press set to maximum. Zoe is the max about for life. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.